Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs, and brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Emilio Iasiello Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. He's backed by popular demand, author of several books devoted to the theater, and he's also a full-time cybersecurity analyst living in Virginia, and he's back with a brand new book, which is Dark. We had him on the show last time talking about attrition, plus he also has some books on Beacon Publishing, the Webpage Chronicles, Chasing the Greens, and also The Girl Behind the Glass. And this new book is kind of like the lemony snippets of unnatural events threatening a 10-year-old boy named Joshua at a secluded cabin near a lake. And a lot of things have happened too, like all these visits, the dark scenes, and chases, what's going to happen, and what's happening with the dark. We'll find out live, ladies and gentlemen, from Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Virginia. If he's not working on cybersecurity, he's writing about it. He also writes some chronicles, and of course, some events as well, too. And it was a big hit with attrition. Ladies and gentlemen, backed by popular demand, author of the new book, The Dark, Emilio Iasiello. Emilio, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me today. It's good to see you again.
Well, it's great to have you back as well, too. We talked about attrition and, of course, the story behind it. And of course, you also had the Webpage Chronicles, Chasing the Green, The Girl Behind the Glass. And you also author of several books as well, too. You still love the theater. You're a full-time cybersecurity analyst, which I'm sure you're probably asking superiors to take a little time off and be on the show. So, and of course, your new book is a series of unnatural events threatening a 10-year-old boy named Joshua at a secluded cabin near a lake. And before we talk about the book, once again, give us a recap on very quickly on how you got started.
Just in writing in general, or the book itself?
Just in writing in general.
Sure. So I started off had a great teacher in the fourth grade who was very inspiring with creativity. I took to it, kind of liked it, and as I went through school, was able to take a few more creative writing classes, and just really can carry that through life. So I started off with a little bit of poetry, got me started, but then went into some fiction. Then fiction led me to playwriting, and then playwriting to screenwriting. So I just found that I loved everything creative, and any way you can possibly tell a story is what I want to get my hands in. So that's why I do a little bit of everything, and keeps me busy. So when I'm not writing cyber, I like to write creatively.
And you also do some creative work too, like the Webpage Chronicles, Chasing the Green, also The Girl Behind the Glass. And we talked about attrition last time. You can just give us a recap on some of the books, and especially last time about attrition.
Yeah, sure. So attrition was my first step forward to writing kind of like a mystery thriller. It's a genre I always like. I love good mysteries, and I like the mysteries that I like best are the ones that tease me enough that I'm able to try to figure it out myself, and it's just not a surprise ending or stuff like that. So I try to do that with attrition. I hope I succeeded. I've gotten some pretty good feedback with regards to it. So where my other books, like The Girl Behind the Glass, is more literary fiction, kind of minding my own life but fictionalizing it. Attrition was more of like my homage to like a mystery thriller that I enjoy. And that led me to The Dark, which is kind of my homage to a campfire ghost story, which I grew up on over summers when I went to a sleepaway camp. So I wanted to kind of pay my tribute that way.
That's really interesting. Go out in a camp like that, and maybe just a little bit of campfire stories, and some of the events that kind of tied into it. So it's sleeping in the cabin, camping, everything like that. So everybody has to do that and go through some kind of story.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I was fortunate enough to do, and whether as much as I enjoyed it, or my mom liked to shuffle me out there for a month, give her a little break from me. But the camp was fantastic. It was a sleepaway camp, exactly you said, remote in the woods in Maine. And our camp director just was an amazing storyteller. And every Sunday we'd have a big campfire at night, and he'd tell one ghost story after another. And they were wonderful. They just not gory, but just really would scare you. And this is kind of like my homage to that. Like I love a good ghost story. I like to be thrilled, not necessarily repulsed by gore, but just chilled. And he did a great job doing this. And this is kind of like my tribute to him.
And what's your favorite ghost story of all time?
Oh, there's so many, but the ones he told, they were just, I love the necessary classics across throughout all regions, but certainly Maine, the Green Slime, the Mad Axeman, Three-Fingered Willie, things like this. These are stories that are just, again, really set in remote locations with woods, lakes, and just really, really to prey on the environment. And of course, as all kids, we're sitting around here like, oh my gosh, the woods are everywhere, and you know, and sure enough, and the counselors are great because then they would scare us here and there too. But he just really told a really good story, and I love that about that, and that's what I wanted to try to replicate with the dark.
And of course, don't forget Bigfoot might be lurking somewhere as well too. Could be in
Of course,
Indiana, could be in Colorado, could be up in Maine, and he might be heading towards Virginia for all you know. Maybe to DC. Who knows?
exactly. And that's what makes these stories wonderful. Is that it's not necessarily state specific, but just hey, you got dark, you got woods, bam, there's a ghost story waiting to happen.
And certainly waiting to happen as well too about a 10-year-old boy named Joshua going through an series of unnatural events, almost like the Lemony Snickets of this version. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews in Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and Manils. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music. Also on HamiltonRadio.net every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Also on BitChute, Rumble, and a few networks and podcast platforms coming soon. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also t-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. We're here with the author of the brand new book, The Dark, from Beacon Publishing, Emilio Iasiello, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And this new book about a series of unnatural events was like the Lemony Snicket of this type. And, tell us a bit about the book as well, too. And of course, though you wrote the inspiration about it and maybe just a bit more behind the background stories and just about everything else.
Sure. For me, like I said, I want to pay an homage to the campfire stories I grew up with. And so I really want, and the key to any good campfire stories is certainly a young impressionable child who has to either hear it or at least live through it. And so that's what we really want to focus on, the kid being the focal point, and not necessarily adults who play more of a supportive role in it. And because kids are the ones that I think are most receptive to all things natural, unnatural. They're the ones that we often don't believe who actually know what's going on. And this was really focused. I really wanted to focus on the child being the hero of the book. And even though the parents, like I said, play a supportive role, it is really truly Joshua, the kid, who becomes the hero, the savior of the family from the unnatural incidents that occur when they're sitting there at the lake. Really wanted to focus on children as being kind of like the driving force of all things good that most of us adults sometimes forget, that the whimsy and the intuitiveness that we had as children, and kind of remind them the fact that we were once that way, and that's why we all sometimes need to listen to our kids a little bit better.
And of course, think about the fact that kind of going back to my 10-year-old days, it's like it was easy for me to make new friends, but there are some that can also lead you astray as well too. Like in the case of Joshua, he got visited by a strange boy, tries to entice him in the forest to be his companion, especially when he finds a sneaker in the woods. So it's kind of like, to me, it's like he's looking for a friend, but then it's just like, Alice in Wonderland in the way. It's just like, just or what's that one? It's like leaving little breadcrumbs, going up to the trailer, something like oh
Oh,
gosh,
Hansel and Gretel,
that was
leaving the
it.
trail
Yeah.
pleasant.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, yeah. It's like I'm having one of those days too, but it's like Hansel and Gretel, it's just like, here, I'll be your friend, but then it's like you get, just snatched in their trance as well too. And of course, a series of events that happens as well and how they escape and solving everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the themes that I also wanted to play upon here is like, as children, we're all very impressionable. Children are very impressionable. Sometimes friendships are very strong, but yes, exactly. They're very impressionable. That could also be put in a good way and also led astray in the bad way. And these are some of the challenges that kids face every day. And it's very allegorical in this sense with respect to the person that Josh first thinks is a friend, but ultimately turns to be a bad influence. So yes, that's also a very key theme that I wanted to touch upon because as kids, like I said, as being very impressionable, it's easy to be put one way or the other, and sometimes the initial decisions that they make may not be right, but hopefully they make the right decision in the end, which is kind of like what I tried to show with Joshua here as well. That beginning to be led astray, but hopefully tucks it back in without any spoiler alerts of what happens at the end.
And also too that a lot of times the parents are watchful and everything, but then they're also dealing with their own problems too. And of course, I guess the thing is like it seems like it's more dangerous nowadays to be in the woods trying to be a companion than we did. It's like we knew how to fend for ourselves, but with the whole thing of social media, just kind of makes it scary in a way too.
Oh, completely. Absolutely. And certainly, I certainly wanted to touch upon, those themes as well. Certainly with respect, especially with the fact that sometimes within families, and especially in this, in the modern dynamic with social media, with a lot of devices that children are exposed to. I wanted to be able to, see what happens when you put them in a situation where those immediate familiarities that they know now they don't have anymore, and seeing how their interactions have to go between father, mother, and child. Once you remove the trappings of this technological age from them, where they're at and how they interact with each other. I mean, certainly I remember that as a kid because we didn't have that. But nowadays, certainly I look at my own kids and they have the devices nonstop. I'm guilty of it. I admit it. But so how do we get them back to that, and really what did they do without that sort of crutch? So kind of an investigation that way as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about when you mentioned about GPS. I remember the days it's like, you did with a compass. You bought a compass, like say an extravagant one. You buy it at a Boy Scout store, or it's like you go to a sporting goods or find one like maybe like 2, 3, $5 at a secondhand store, like a Goodwill, Salvation Army, and all that. It's like you didn't have your Walmart's, Targets, and everything else. I mean, you really invested in compasses, back in the day. It's just like, I guess I can imagine. It's like, what would a kid do with it with just a plain old compass instead of a GPS? You kind of wonder about that.
Yeah, definitely. Like certainly, like so, very funny that you should mention like two objects that I remember that I had as a kid growing up was a compass, and two is like a little pocket knife, like a tiny little pocket knife that we always had, and not a big knife, but just a little one. And these are two things that we had. Now it's like people have the cell phones, the smartphones, or the other technology, the Apple Watches. The two things that I had was a compass and a little pocket knife, and then knowing that hey, I have to be home when the sun hits a certain level. Yeah, it's completely different now. So yeah, there was also one of the reasons I wanted to kind of remove the trappings of today's technology away from like again a childhood that I kind of remembered, but then kind of fold in this uh, the spiritual component as well. Like I said, the lemony snicket component as well. Just I love it when you see movies today. Like first thing is if a horror movie, the cell phone can't work. So you have to come up with the immediate reason why the character has a cell phone. Can't work. No coverage or whatever. So here I just want to remove all technologies and say get back to a certain natural environment, and then let the characters start to develop organically.
And I think that was also involved too, and let them develop like White Page Chronicles, Chasing the Green, The Girl Behind the Glass, and also Attrition as well, almost like the same lines in a way.
Yeah, absolutely, completely. I love that sort of thing. Just I love putting two people into a room and figure out what they do. And hopefully, the idea is saying, two completely different types of characters, two different types of thoughts, ideologies or whatever, and seeing how they interact. And I think that's where the more interesting stories will evolve. And it's just nothing that I ever enter into with like a set thing that will happen. I just create two characters and say, okay, well, talk, act, see what happens, because they will make a much better story than me to try to set a preconceived idea onto them. Oh, they'll make a great story on themselves. Just got to let them be who they are.
And what do you want the readers to get out of the book?
First and foremost, I want them to, ideally to read the book at night. Make sure that their phones are off or whatever. Just really immerse in it, and hopefully, if it's a good enough story, and I think it is, they will be, they want to put it down, because they're like sitting in front of a campfire, listening to a good story being told that is, that they know is not real, but they still get chilled, they still huddle in, they still lean in close. I kind of want them to, if they ever had that experience, kind of bring them back to that. If they've never had that experience, then they say, hey, what you need to do is go to the woods for a weekend, and with a friend or with your family, and have that experience. Tell ghost stories at night, and just really be, because really it's about people being around people, and I think that's important.
And don't forget the s'mores too, by the way.
Tons of s'mores, absolutely.
That is another essential. It's like you got to bring a pocket knife, a compass, and some s'mores as well. You got to have those.
That's all you need, and then you're a kid. You can get through all the entire summer that way. It's very simple.
It does, yeah. And where can we find your book and all your works, Emilio?
Sure. So all my books are available on Amazon. So just to make it easier that way, it's a what kind of one-stop shopping. And like I said, I've got books, like I said, that range from short stories, literary fiction, thriller, this horror one, and Webpage Chronicles is for middle grade fiction, so for kids, middle grade age. So little something for everybody.
And we'll certainly check that out. We're here with author Emilio Iasiello here on the Mike Wagner Show at the Dark from Beacon Publishing. And what else can we expect from you in 2023 and beyond, Emilio?
Sure. So I guess one of the upshots from the COVID thing, it was that I had a lot of time to write, so which was nice. So I have a work that should be forthcoming in 2023, that I've been working on for the past year, kind of a reinvestigation of doing more literary fiction, kind of like mining my own personal experiences and fictionalizing them for a book. So hopefully that should be coming out in 2023. So knock on wood.
We will certainly check that out as well too. And once again, we're with author Emilio Iasiello with the Dark here on the Mike Wagner Show. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books at?
Sure. So they can. I have a website, which is basically just emilioiasiello.com, where is my main page. But I'm also available on Facebook, and also Twitter. I welcome everybody just reaching out, contacting me, asking me questions, or give me criticism, constructive criticism, whatever. I'm all good. I like to interact with people that read my work, because I learn from them, and I learn to be a better writer as a result.
And that's a great thing as well too. We're looking forward to reading a book about the dark, almost like a Lemony Snicket's type of book as well too. And Emilio, it's always great to have you on. Make sure you keep us up to date, keep in touch. We'll have you back, and wish you all best. A very big thank you for your time, Emilio, here on the Mike Wagner Show. You're always amazing, and looking forward to having you again soon. Definitely all the best, and we'll see you in 2023.
Thank you so much for having me, and look forward to another time. Thank you, Mike.